Today's sim racing tip of the day: don't use the N-word.
Brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
Today we're talking about how to get started in iRacing. Stick around. What's going on, guys? As mentioned, I want to take a little time today and talk about how to get started in iRacing. So, unless you've been living under a rock recently, with the world shut down, really esports and iRacing has kind of taken over TV. So, I mean, it started out a few weeks ago on Sunday. Now I think they're broadcasting races 4 nights a week. So, I think there was some figures being tossed around the other day that iRacing subscriptions have just went through the roof. So there's a lot of new people coming on board. Or thinking about coming on board. So I just want to take a few minutes to talk about iRacing as a core and how to get started and what you need, what you don't need, and kind of give some advice, some details that maybe I thought I should have had when I got started several years ago. So first I want to talk about is gear. I'm not really going to talk about PCs today. I'm assuming at this point, if you're looking at getting into it, you're already a light gamer, or maybe you have an upper end desktop PC for just home use that can handle some games. iRacing's not real demanding to run on at least its minimum specs, but that'll be kind of another discussion. I think there's a lot of videos out there on that as well, but right now we'll just talk about what it takes to take an existing PC and become a sim racer from there. So first off, let's start with gear. Unless you're just above the average Joe and you got a pile of cash laying around, as you've probably seen on some of these iRacing broadcasts, if you want to be a Denny Hamlin, you can spend up to $40, $50, $60,000 on a sim rig, and the sky's the limit. To get started, you definitely don't need any of that. Most people, the goal is get in the door as cheap as possible and work your way up from there. Not only because no one wants to drop $5,000 at one time, but you don't know if you're going to like it. So the big one is start small and work your way up from there would be my first suggestion. What you see here is the Logitech G29. It's a very popular wheel. I mean, as you can see, I'm running a pretty big sim rig, and I still run an entry-level wheel just because my upgrade priorities have been elsewhere. This is a very good rig. If you watch, like I believe the Timmy Hills of the world running with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Denny Hamlin and those likes on Sunday, he just won, 2 weeks ago with something very similar to this on a laptop on a simple desk in a spare bedroom. So it doesn't take $40,000 to have fun and win and be good at iRacing or sim racing in general. This is a gear-driven wheel. My suggestion would be start with a entry-level gear-driven wheel or a belt-driven wheel. Logitech G29 and G920 are two of the most popular. One being they're relatively cheap at a couple $100. And they have cross-platform compatibility. So this is the PC and PS PlayStation version. The G920 is the PC and Xbox version. They're both identical the same. The rim's just a little different when the buttons, of course, look like Xbox versus PS3 or 4. So the only drawbacks to gear-driven is they're a little clunky. Sometimes during force feedback, you might get a little kick and pull versus a nice smooth action of a belt drive. But a lot of that can be tweaked in your force feedback settings in-game. So a lot of that can be overcome to find a appropriate level. So I wouldn't let that scare you off from getting a gear-driven wheel. My next investment eventually will be a belt-driven wheel just to take that next step of immersion and get a smooth experience. A lot of people will say, oh, you can get faster lap times. Really, it's up to your dedication level. If you practice, you could probably sit here and be just as good as the Timmy Hill or Dale Earnhardt on a controller if you want to spend 80 hours a week trying to master it. Anything's possible. If you go belt-driven, I would say I think Thrustmaster and Fanatic are two of your leading brands out there, and Logitech's pretty got the gear-driven market kind of on lockdown right now with their two models. They've just been around forever. They're tried and true. The biggest con for some of the nicer brands is they're a la carte. You have to purchase a wheel, a pedal, and a shifter separately, so costs add up very quick. From there, any setup works. You don't need 3 and 5 monitors to get in on sim racing. One simple, I would say probably at least minimum 20-inch 24 or 27 inch single monitor is probably better, but one monitor can work. The only trick there is make sure if you're running on one monitor, get it as close to your steering wheel and as close to your eye as you can. In game, iRacing will calculate your field of view for you, and that's very important. I see a lot of guys online and they'll spend all this money on a cool play seat rig or another brand. They may even be laying down in an F1 style body position. They've got a badass steering wheel, and then they're running on a 32-inch TV that's 7 feet in front of them, and their field of view is just absolutely horrible. By the time you put the car and all the roll cages and everything around the screen, you're effectively driving off this much of a screen 6 feet away. It's not a good situation for the money that you put in to invest in it. So even a smaller screen, as I started out on a 27, this is a 24. One 27-inch screen set to your correct field of view is still highly usable. So that's the big tip on monitors. Then from there you can start. I went from 1, went to 2, and I was running support programs, internet, chat rooms, whatever in the background on my second monitor, and then eventually went to 3, and then I spanned the gameplay to 3 monitors, and then slowly expanded to 4 and 5 and other things. But you only need one to get started, and if you like it, expand from there. Unfortunately, TVs keep dropping in price. Monitors don't, especially good monitors. You can, this is a hot topic in debate, 60 hertz versus 144 versus something even higher. I still run on 60 hertz monitors just because back in the day, 2 or 3 years ago when I expanded to +3 monitors, they're expensive. Even just standard Dell Office monitors like this were $100, $110 a piece. That's a hefty investment when you've already got one to go buy 2 or 3 more just for monitors. So you can start small, start with 60 hertz, as long as they're all the same is the key. Small bezels is the second item I would look for, but from there, any monitor will work. Start small, work your way up. As far as gear in a whole, I would recommend, where possible, especially for steering wheels, pedals, brakes, anything you buy, even if it's entry level, buy name brand if possible. Don't buy the cheapest Korean-made, no-name piece of thing you can buy, because if you do decide that this isn't for me, I don't like it, I'm not good at it, I don't have the time for it, at least buy something with a name brand. It has resale value. Are you going to make money on it on resale? Probably not. But are you going to break even or maybe take a 10-20% loss? Sure. You're helping somebody else out in the community who's looking for used gear to try it out. And that may be the thing for you too, is try to buy used gear. There's a lot of used gear out there as well, from entry level all the way up to advanced stuff. So that's kind of my 2 cents about gear for entry level gear. Second, let's talk about iRacing, the platform specifically. It is a web-based service. You do have to install it to your PC. Updates you have to install to your PC, but to run it, to get into the lobbies, to get into the game, it is PC-based or web-based. You have to have a good internet connection and a constant connection. If you lose internet, power goes out, internet goes out during a storm, whatever, you're going to lose connection to your game and you cannot play. So it is a internet-based game. It is also subscription-based. So it's not a one-time fee and done. It's not expensive. I know they always offer really good deals to first-time members. They offer Black Friday deals, Christmas deals, and typically maybe first quarter, somewhere around Easter now, they normally offer a sale, I think, so for recurring members. Normally it's 20% off, 30% off, something like that, but the subscription a year is only about $120. You're only talking $10-12 a month. So it's not terrible, but it is a subscription-based service. Where the costs come in that no one really tells you about is it's kind of pay to play. It is a microtransaction system, so you get a very small portion of tracks and cars when you start just to get started. They give you just enough to play the game and get through rookies. Once you advance to different license classes, if you want to do more than the minimum series, you have to invest. So if you want to run NASCAR trucks, if you want to run Xfinity League, if you want to run, Monster Cup series cars, you have to buy that content. If you're a road racer and you want to run the new GT3 Cup car, or you want to run a special Ferrari, you have to buy those cars individually. You also have to buy most of your tracks individually. So tracks are run anywhere from about $14-15, and cars, some of them, now that they've been out there long enough, there's some that are a couple dollars cheaper, but they're anywhere from $10 to $12. Memberships go on sale. Gear typically does not. My suggestion for content is you do not need to buy everything at once. So iRacing runs on a schedule. unless you're going to run offline events in a private league, or something that they dictate what you run, and or you're running different tracks more often. If you're truly just going to run the iRacing subscription service, it works on a weekly rotation. So whatever track, whether it's road, oval, dirt, NASCAR, doesn't matter. They change over their tracks on Monday night. So Monday night around 7 o'clock, the new track for the week's hit on every series. And then it stays that way. You keep running that track for 7 days. It depends on the length of the race and the track, but typically, let's say they're on a 2 to 3 hour rotation. So last week we were racing Chicagoland in NASCAR. Monday night it switched to Richmond. We'll be running Richmond until next Monday. Roughly every 2 hours, 2.5 hours, there's a new truck race. So you do not get to pick just a time. Unless you're going to run a hosted event or something private. If I'm running a fixed truck league and I jump on at 2 o'clock because I want to run a race, and I only have from 2 to 2:30 available, if there's not a hosted race on that rotation of time, you're not going to be able to run. So you are dictated by their schedule. So for instance, when you look at their schedule, you know, okay, at 1:10 there's a race starting. At 3:10 there's a race starting. Those are the times you have to go. Now you're free to practice or do a private test session, but if you're going to do a race that counts towards your points and your licenses, you have to follow the schedule. So now to the next probably number one issue with iRacing, in my opinion, that everybody has their complaint, and it's probably caused a lot of newcomers to be put off by the series, give up and leave. That is their license system, and specifically rookie class. So when you start, you are a rookie in either road and oval. Road, I think, is a little better just because road racers, I feel, in general, whether you're online or a real road racer, I think you have better patience and better manners than your typical oval driver. Oval drivers were knock down, drag out, put you in the wall, spin you to win you type of thing. Road racers, are used to having to take 5 laps to hunt a guy down and pass him. It's not knock down, drag out for the most part. It still happens. So the road side, I don't think is as bad if you can control your car. Cars get spaced out a little better, but on the NASCAR side, rookies is a fight for survival. You don't go into rookies looking to be rookie of the year, looking to win. You're looking to survive. My advice is survive rookies, be clean, be smooth. You're going to get lucky just by starting in the back. Just avoid the wrecks. That's all you have to do. Wait for the front 15 cars to spin out and crash. Cruise through that pile at 5 miles an hour and take a win, take a first, take a second. And you started in the back, your TT and IT ratings are going to skyrocket because you were clean and you started in the back of the pack and managed to work your way up to the front. Once you get past rookie level, you move into D class. There's rookies, D, C, B, A, and pro. Once you get into D, the racing really gets a lot better. Your series that are available to you are still limited, so you're gonna run, especially the free stuff. Every level comes with a couple free little carrots to keep you interested. So a lot of people flock to the free stuff while they're gaining things. There's certain tracks that come with the service that are free. So like a week when you run Charlotte, Charlotte Motor Speedway comes with the service. Everybody runs Charlotte, so it's a busy week. So the amount of people, you're going to be placed in lower servers when you're first getting started out. So you're going to race with the riffraff for a while, but D class gets better. I've had some really good races in D. C, you really start to get to a better level and you get a more spread out expertise of cars. At C level, you got quite a good choice of cars. So there you start to see people split out. You don't get as many people all in one series, so the quality of racing goes up. B class, you get all the way up to like Xfinity level cars. And the racing's really good. From there, once you get into B and above, it's really up to you. You're racing with the people that race like you. So iRacing puts you in through its algorithm. If you're a trash driver and you have a low safety rating, iRacing is going to put you with other trash drivers with low safety ratings. Another very simple yet effective tip for iRacing, if you don't want to look like a rookie or have a flag on your back and be showing your rookie stripes because you're new, join the website Trading Paints. So when you see all these guys running custom paints with their own name on the car, or they're running, Dale Earnhardt's famous Goodwrench car, they're not doing that through iRacing. iRacing has a very generic car editor. It's not very good. It can do the very basics, and there's only you can't do anything licensed through the iRacing editor. On Trading Paints, you're pretty much free to your own devices. I've never heard of any copyright issues, but Pretty much people go to Google, type in any logo you can think of, and design to your heart's intent. There's a lot of pre-canned stuff already. Once you make an account, it links up with your iRacing account. You just hit race. So if I want Dale Earnhardt's car, I click on it, hit subscribe, hit race, and it automatically loads it as long as I'm running the Trading Paints program. When I go into the service, now this is what guys are going to see instead of just a black car with a number on it. So it makes it a little more immersive. I mean, when you're racing, you want to see guys running real paints. Same for you. When guys are pulling up on you, it's much more immersive and cool if they're pulling up on a fully painted car. This at least applies for today, April 2020. I still prefer the older website, especially as a new member. I would have appreciated this website. They do have a new beta version, which is very Windows 10-like. Big pretty icons and things. Click here to get to the advanced window. But I feel like as a new user trying to understand the race schedule, it's very difficult. The older website shows you exactly what series, exactly what race, what time it comes on, and you can scan forward and see when the next race is. It's very straightforward. I can scroll down, I can filter it as needed and go from there. So for me, I still use the older website. One thing to note on the older website though, I know there's a lot of commercials and hype around the new AI mode they've been releasing. You cannot get to the AI modes to do offline racing in the older website. You have to go to the beta. So when you install the program, you should have got a iRacing Beta UI desktop icon to click on to launch it, or you can launch it from the top of the website. Another cool factor with iRacing is the community. If you look through, how I've always found them is through Facebook pages. There is an iRacing Leagues Facebook page. It's pretty popular, thousands upon thousands of members, and that's where you can find a lot of leagues. But you can also Google. Leagues run off, so whoever hosts or owns the league does have to pay a very small price. I think it only amounts to like $1 or $2 per session. So to host a league race, it costs them, let's say, $2 for the night. And then you can host whatever track you want, how your members, and so you can host a true league. You may race with the same 30 guys every single week and follow a more traditional NASCAR schedule where, every Friday night your league may host a group practice. Every Saturday they host qualifying. Every Sunday they host a race, and that schedule can be 100% different for every league you run, but you race with the same guys in and out. The league tracks your points more traditionally, and you can have a more traditional NASCAR experience, and they're pretty fun if you find the good ones. You get out of the riff-raff and the everyday life that is iRacing. Well, if you stuck with me this long, I appreciate you listening, and I hope you learned some things more about the service and what it takes to get into the service. Like we've went over, it does not take thousands and thousands of dollars to get in and try it out. And hopefully you learned a few things about what to expect once you do get into iRacing. So hope to see you out there, and thanks for watching.